Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the full moon in Virgo that happens on the 7th of March 2023 at 1:40 in the afternoon, and that is based on Central European time. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you for this horoscope. The chart you see next to me here, that's a snapshot of the sky at the moment this full moon is going to take place. And if I draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth, same way I've got them here. And then I have a similar wheel, and it shows me the position of the planets at the moment you were born. So that's what this is, how the planets are kind of placed and how they interact with each other during this full moon. I'm going to analyze this chart to see what energy they create amongst themselves, and then how that's going to influence all of us down here on planet Earth. Okay, so let's see. First of all, it's a full moon in Virgo, so the sun and the moon oppose each other. And I always feel that a full moon is like the completion point of the 28-day cycle for the moon, because it's been working steadily towards this. Now it's 180 degrees away from the sun, it's completely lit up, and it's a massive achievement. It's this moment of completion. So it's the end of one cycle, the beginning of another, and there's a celebration and a release involved, as far as I feel. And the moon is in Virgo, so what we're really going to be feeling is a lot of Virgo energy. Virgo is an earth sign. It's associated with the nurse. Often it's very much about healthy living, nutrition, taking care of the physical and tending to it in a nurturing way. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and when Mercury is in Virgo, the setting is kind of towards listening, learning, looking around, taking it all in, kind of getting your bearings and coming up with meaning and answers by yourself. So Virgo is pretty cerebral and it likes to make sense of things. It's very good at reading symbols, especially out in nature. And it's very good at like administration and organization and getting every detail in exactly the right place. So with this full moon in Virgo, all of those things you're going to be very good at. So if you really dislike doing your emails or, doing the chores or tidying up the garden or, I don't know, doing the calendar for the next month or something, the Virgo moon will help you with that. And it will say, don't worry, this is actually fun and enjoyable. Order and structure are good. Hooray. Okay, so Virgo then can be a little over the top. It can become a little obsessive. And because it's so good at details and sorting them all out, it can lose sight of the bigger picture. And it's like, can't see the forest for the trees. So if you find yourself getting nitpickety during this, that's partially what comes along with Virgo. What's really going to offset that, because this full moon is at 16 degrees, 1 and 6 is 7. 7 is the mind and creativity. I don't think it's so much about analyzing yourself and saying, oh, I'm being a little much here. I think it's much better to be active, particularly in anything creative. So the creative things Virgo is good at are things that have a physical shape and form. So fashion design and pottery and floristry and making cute little chocolates and crafts and creating crystal grids and those kind of things. So the full moon then is in your third house of communication. That just adds another element to this already very mercurial in the sense of exchanging ideas, not in the sense of temperamental. I don't think there's any kind of potential for you to be moody here, overly moody during this full moon. It's very much about, this is where I'm at, this is what we can do. It's very cut and dry, matter of fact, let's get organized. So if there's something that hasn't made sense to you, or a problem, you've got a problem that you haven't found the solution to yet, really focus on that and hone in and look at it from every which way. This full moon is a period of real clarity and understanding, and Virgo can never be overwhelmed by information. The more, the merrier. It loves info because it wants to have all the answers, right? Virgo thinks that life will be manageable and will make sense when it's read every book and heard every opinion, and now it knows everything it can manage. It's not very much about Que sera, sera. It's about, I need to know because I have to have control over this. So you can see how that can become problematic, right? So if there's a genuine issue that needs figuring out, hooray. But if you're just like floating around and randomly criticizing things, then that's not so good. The sun on the other side here is at 16 degrees in Pisces. So the sun is your identity, what you're striving towards being. It's like who you want to become when you grow up, I guess. Yeah. And the sun in Pisces is very forgiving. It's very loving. It's very connected. No, that's why it is forgiving, because fundamentally, I always think of Pisces as two fish looking at each other. It's like face to face. I love you. You love me. Who are you? What is this all about? It's that moment of spiritual recognition where you meet your spirit guide or you hear the voice of some higher being or whatever it is. So because you feel there's something otherworldly and loving that's out there supporting you, of course you're going to be more likely to forgive. Because if you feel the love, then you're going to be more loving towards other people. At least that's the theory. And with the sun being in Pisces, you feel connected on some bigger level. So that's amazing, because with the detail orientation of Virgo and its ability to create meaning in that sense, the sun in Pisces, you will just feel things. You will just know things. This is my truth. I'm certain about this. So how can I get the details then to manifest it or to make it a real thing in my life? And the sun is at 16 degrees in Pisces. So 1 and 6 again is 7, mind and creativity. Okay, that does a number of things. Okay, that means that symbols will jump out at you and will touch something in you emotionally. So it's outward, inward. But then the sun at 16 degrees in Pisces, you're going to be so spiritually aware and have your imagination is so fired that you'll then want to go the other direction as well. My ideas, I want to build it on planet Earth in a tangible way or in a digital way. Then we've got Neptune, the water planet of dreams and intuition. That is 8 degrees away from the sun, so they're conjunct. If I'm doing a reading for someone and they ask me, hey Greg, am I intuitive? Do I have psychic ability? I always look at what the sun and Neptune are doing. If the sun and Neptune oppose each other, then that person is very intuitive, but it seems foreign. It seems like out there somewhere far away. If they're squared, like in my chart, then it's a constant negotiation between the intuition and something tangible. So I use astrology, the cards, as a way of having that back and forth. And then when the sun and Neptune are conjunct, like here, there's huge intuition, but it's often not recognized and totally overlooked. It's like the fog of Neptune, which then gives you this amazing intuition. It kind of makes the sun disappear. It makes the identity, they don't connect in a way. So with this, you're massively guided intuitively. And that in itself is what the Virgo full moon could figure out for you. If you feel like, hey, I've always wanted to be a healer or a herbalist or a tarot reader or something like that, but I don't really know if I have the talent, then the Virgo moon with its analysis will allow you to kind of part the fog and really see that you have something there. And by the way, if you've had a desire like that, in anything, if it's a vet or a roof person who puts roofs on houses or whatever, if a desire like that has come up again and again and again over the years, it's probably likely that you're meant to do something with it, because that's how the higher self operates as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't just shock you with a message or put a note through your door saying, hey, become a neurosurgeon. It usually gives you the same message again over years and years and years, in some sort of intellectual or emotional way, and it's not urgent, it's repetitive, and it just... So anyway, that kind of thing, the Virgo moon will allow you to recognize that, hey, there's something here, I should pay attention and maybe run with it. Okay, the moon then forms relationships with a couple of things. First of all, it's semi-squares, so it's 45 degrees away from the rising in Leo. The rising, I always interpret as what comes most naturally to you. It's at 2 degrees in Leo, and that's really fun. That's like I want to be out in a field, having fun, drinking beer, dancing to music. It's a party, basically. It's the two of one and two is cooperation and relationships, and Leo is about enjoying the good times in life, being in the sunshine, letting the inner child play, being in the spotlight and singing and dancing and having all the good stuff. So that it does semi-square the full moon in Virgo. So that's a nice combination, because if there's anything you need to do in your life where you really do have to make a decision and take on a position of leadership and say, okay, thank you, okay, you're all looking to me for something, here's my response, here's my answer. That combination makes you very decisive and very, what's the word? Certain in your own decision-making process. The moon then also squares Mars in Gemini, which is great, because Mars is drive and ambition. In Gemini, it's about, I want to find my own door through. I want to find my own solution. I want to find my own way of doing things here. And I want to find my own answers and meaning. 21, 2 and 1 is 3. That's communication and new beginnings. And it connects with the moon in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, Virgo, but so is Gemini. So the way you feel and what you're driven towards, it's all to do with communication, understanding, making sense of, and then also via Mars, getting your point across. Oh, and what I'm getting here is that Mars in Gemini, it opens, again, an inner door for you that says, here's the dream, this is the purpose, the mission, try this. Wow. So it's a moment of kind of revelation. If you don't know what your life purpose is, this excessive meaning-making ability of Virgo and Mars is really going to help you connect with something that only you can make sense of for yourself. No one can tell you that. Like, you can go to, what are they called? A psychologist and do an aptitude test, and they say, you should do these jobs. But really, the purpose, the career, the thing of your dream, only you can figure that out. It may not be on their list of potential jobs that you can do. Okay. Mars then squares the Sun and Neptune in Pisces, which oppose the Moon, and that creates a big red triangle called a T-square. And a T-square is energy that's kind of, there's a lot of friction there. It can go round and round and round and never be resolved. So that's, unless, I think the way to resolve it. So the back and forth, the bouncing back and forth is between my spiritual intuition is guiding me, plus I'm very good at looking at details. It peaks with Mars in Gemini. So the solution is to use all of that focus to find a way forward in life, to find a way out, to find a way to solve any problem that seems impassable and impossible. And that's really where the push can be. If you check this on the side a little bit, there's also a big red square in the chart, and that's called a Grand Cross. And a Grand Cross really is something where you can be so conflicted that you kind of become paralyzed and do nothing. And that's kind of interesting that we've got that here, because earlier I said Virgo is never overwhelmed by information. It's never enough. So the Grand Cross connects the North Node in Taurus with the rising in Leo, South Node in Scorpio, and the descendant in Aquarius. Okay. So I know what I'm feeling. Do I put myself out in the spotlight? Do I do something for others? Ultimately, I want to create the opportunity for more physical security and routine and comfort. So ultimately, all this, what this Grand Cross does, it says you've got all this ability to make sense and meaning. I feel it tries to sabotage you here by saying, focus on only material considerations in your life. And I feel that is sabotage, because if you shift the focus of your full moon in Virgo towards understanding the self, that's where you can have the breakthroughs. Not going over your books today and seeing if you can balance the asset liability section, which of course is something that needs doing at times. I think those kind of admin things, of course, you're going to be good at, but I think there's a bigger opportunity here to really and fundamentally it's via Mars and Gemini, to kind of have this intellectual doorway open. I realize now that I didn't see it correctly, and now my eyes have been opened, and hallelujah. And that's a huge thing. For me, like, I've been able to change my life when I've had those epiphany moments. It's really, and they're very few and far between in my case anyway. Then we've got, let's see. Oh yeah, let's go back to the moon. That's a good start. The moon then trines Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is the planet of the unpredictable, the chaotic, like what you have no control over. And in Taurus, it often represents major physical change. Oh, but Virgo likes this. It likes to deal with changes, and it likes to anticipate what it needs doing. It's almost like it's preparing. So Virgo enjoys that. And what I was saying earlier, also this overwhelm, I don't feel that you are going to be overwhelmed with information. I think that the only thing is that you can be derailed into decoding and analyzing stuff that is trivial and irrelevant. And it's important to look at the big questions. Yes. Okay. Then, the moon quincunxes Venus in Aries. Venus is at 18 degrees in Aries. Venus is the planet of love and beauty and creativity. In Aries, it really wants to start a new loving relationship. It wants to create a new life. It wants to have a new beginning. It wants to spread the love and create and build. And at 18 degrees, 1 and 8 is 9. 9 in numerology is spirituality and completion. In the tarot, it's the Hermit. And that's like this desire for spiritual belonging and understanding. So again, both the personal planets, Mars and Venus, are kind of, I think that's where the opportunity of this full moon is. It's those two that allow you to delve into the higher realms and to really kind of fall in love with yourself, or find a solution to an inner problem that then allows you to love yourself moving forward. It's the potential to change your life through spiritual understanding. Yeah. It opposes the Sun and Neptune. Got that? It sesqui squares the descendant in Aquarius. So the question with that is, do I do things for myself or for the greater good? And you may think this is a cop-out, but I think that by going down that spiritual route and understanding something for yourself, that's what's ultimately going to be for the greater good. So I don't think you have to make a choice at all. If you do have to make a choice, try and have some sort of light bulb moment go off, because I think it will be really... I mean, if you want to have one of those moments, if something doesn't make sense, it's a good opportunity to change that. If everything in your life makes sense and you know you're exactly on track, then focus on the detail and get everything organized in a practical sense, I would say, is the best way to manage this. And that's the relationships the moon forms. Let's see if there's anything else here. So we've got the Grand Cross, the T-square. Yep. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Right, so I hope that gives you an idea of what this full moon is about. I always mention as well that the full moon is kind of a 3-day event. So I feel you'll start to feel this on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of March. I hope that's useful and it gives you something to go on. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, please. Hit subscribe and share the video online. In my personal readings, I use astrology, and to draw up your chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then there's a process called chart rectification, which is also on my website. That's a process where you send me 10 or more life events and I can actually work out your time of birth. So if you don't have that, doesn't mean you can't have your chart done. I hope you have a lovely time during this full moon. Please check out my other videos, the daily tarot readings and the weekly horoscope. And I will speak to you soon. All the best.